Chris, Rod, Al, and Jay, and it is Sunday, August 21st, 2022. We got 10 more days left of August. I got to tell you, July flew by. August kind of starting to move a little slow here, right? At the end, kind of the first half was moving, and now it's kind of like, oh, man. But next Saturday, we got college football. I know that I already saw the videos on the calendar there. I already signed myself up for some, so I know which ones I got to really study on. Going to be interesting. And then week one, I'll be studying up hard immediately following those games. So, man, I just kind of crept up on me a little bit, Chris, the college football action, right? It's like, here it is. And, it's like, a lot of teams just naming starters and things of that nature. And a lot of teams, a lot of question marks. About a third of the teams have new head coaches this year.
Yeah, and obviously we found that out last year. The transfer portal sort of shakes everything up, and like you said, lots of coaching changes, lots of adjustments that have to be made within staffs, and we're starting to see how these new pieces are starting to fit. I can tell you, week 0 has a couple of those right off the top, and especially, I'll bring up a team right now that I know we're gonna have to talk about. Is the Nevada Wolfpack. They pretty much have a complete rebuild there, and from the coaching staff down throughout the roster. So it's gonna be interesting to see how teams adjust and how long it's going to take them to sort of get up and running and get everything clicking.
I thought last year the Wolfpack offense was as good as any in the country. I really liked the receiving core that they had last year, and I thought that Strong was pretty strong at QB. So obviously most of that team is gone too as well. So be interesting, and that's all off the top of my head when it comes there. But there's some good games, not just in week 1 this year, in week 2 as well, and kind of carries over. Those kickoff classic games, now it's Texas Alabama's now in week 2. Instead of being week 1, it's been Alabama playing in that kind of that week 1 big game every year. And they've caught some favorable matchups in that game, and they've caught some they've caught some not favorable ones, but most of the time they've caught favorable. They've caught some teams in down years in that spot too. But we can't take much away here from Alabama and what they've done under Nick Saban. But anyways, Rod, we last left off in college football. You were tearing it up, and you were in hot pursuit of James Clark for that number 1 overall title. Never got there. But it's another year. Another year.
We ran out of weeks, so another year to move along and catch him this season. So I shifted some things from what I did last season, kind of after the first few months, and I changed the way I was doing things in college football, and we're going to implement it again and see if it keeps working. So,
well, the Buffalo Bills.
I'm excited. It's going to be good college season. I'm excited. Week 1. Once week 1, you got Georgia taking on the Ducks. Nice.
Yeah, but the Ducks, with a new head coach and a lot of transfer outs there as well. Yeah. So, definitely some big issues there. And across the board in Georgia, missing the bulk of their team from a year ago as well. And a
year ago, yeah.
The problem that you have is when you have all those kind of players leave early, and you had all those players that transferred out, because they couldn't get on the field. It'd be interesting to see what they're left with at this point. Al Ninos, what's shaking?
Going pretty good here, Mitch. How are you?
I'm doing good. Hanging in there. I'm above dirt, and that's always a good sign.
Yeah, I was just looking at these college football lines. Yeah, and excited about the upcoming season. And it's funny, Rod was talking some betting strategy because I think I'm gonna have a pretty interesting strategy this season myself. So should be interesting to see how it works out.
All right. Well, I know that the first couple of weeks we always see a lot of teams playing against teams that, games that shouldn't be played, and they still play.
Part of my strategy.
They still play them anyway, and but those lines are in the 50s, sometimes, and a lot of times you see teams not wanting to embarrass these teams because these are teams that are on their schedule for a specific reason. There's a specific reason certain teams are on certain team schedules. And a lot of times it's an in-state school that, makes a couple $1,000,000 by playing against another one of these opponents, and then it rotates between playing several of the other schools within that state. Like Alabama State, I believe, plays Auburn and Alabama like every few years. They rotate between those schools. I mean, obviously they're not going to win, but they make a lot of money on those games. Bethune-Cookman rotates between Miami, Florida, and Florida State, playing those three schools, and you see it kind of around. That's all part of this stuff. Doesn't mean we like it. It doesn't mean we have to support it. It doesn't mean that, these games should count in the final record, but they do. Anyways, we move on to Jay. And, I watched the Cowboys game last night against the Chargers. I had actually put a pretty big bet in on the Cowboys on the money line in that game. And, the special teams really came through for them. I thought that the 2-point conversion before the half was, definitely, while it's not, obviously not meaningful in the grand scheme of things, I thought that the fact that they were able to execute that play in that situation with the guys they had in the field was promising, that you're able to do that, because they know it's coming, and it's kind of like, you're able to do it anyway with Cooper Rush.
Definitely surprising to me yesterday. I did not see the offensive explosion that was going to happen from my
two special teams touchdowns, two special teams.
Oh yeah, not offensive, but scoring in general. I was on that under, unfortunately, yesterday. But yeah, so they caught me in a bad spot. But like you said, it was good to see at least Cooper Rush not look as worse as Ian Book. That was a good sign.
Do you think that? Well, I mean, Cooper Rush is Roger Staubach compared to Ian Book. I mean, he is they're not even in the same sentence. Ian Book sucks. I mean, he's never been good in meaningful games. He's never been good in a meaningful game. But the thing is that I obviously watch the game. The Chargers defense, if they have any kind of injuries, if they have to go to that depth, how much are we going to bet against the Chargers? I mean, I know certain handicappers are like, oh, I only bet 5% is my max bet or whatever. I'll tell you what, the Chargers go to that second string defense. I'm betting 125%. I'm going to take a loan out and bet it against that Chargers defense, man. They could not tackle anything. Jovan's laughing at him too, because it's like it was just, 9 yards into the secondary is when they would make initial contact with, second, third string running backs. We're not talking, Pollard and Zeke. Right?
Yeah, no. Yeah, that second string defense wasn't looking good at all. We see them get lit up last week with the Rams. The Rams played some guys I had never heard of last week, and we see those guys light them up. So if they ever do go to that second string D, they don't have too much depth, man. I don't know. A lot of people are high on the Chargers. I think they might end up worse in that division.
I don't think they're as good. I think that their first unit is really good, but I think you get past that and they have some big problems. Jovan, guys like Chase Daniel, we see a lot of these guys throughout the years that, they kind of they've been around so long, right? But they never really played meaningful time. It's not like, Don Strock or, when he came in and, played meaningful minutes for the Dolphins, or Earl Morrall in 72 when he, ran the table as a backup quarterback. When we see guys like Chase Daniel, it is never good. It's kind of, the same thing that we've seen from Geno Smith in the past. It's never good. And, oh, God, who was the Tavarius Jackson, right? Remember him? Oh, boy.
Boy, yeah.
It's like, oh, my God. It was, and anyone on the Lions, anyone who's a backup on the Lions. David Blau or whatever. Come on. Do you think the Dolphins had Teddy Bridgewater in yesterday. He was okay. He certainly wasn't, outstanding by any stretch of the imagination, but it's like, where do all these decent college quarterbacks go? What happens to them?
They go to the NFL, and it's a rude awakening, basically. The professional clipboard holders, get paid a nice salary to do that. And, they're coming in a pinch from time to time. And, do what they do, which is play a mediocre brand of football for the most part. You might catch the guy is he's escaping my name, but he came in the pinch against the Patriots years ago. He was playing backup for the Green Bay Packers, lit the Patriots up, and this was maybe 10 plus years ago.
Aaron Rodgers.
But, no, I'm saying backup.
Well, he was the backup for Favre. He was the backup.
No. It was backup for. I don't know. It was a long time ago, but he got a big contract based off it. He got a big
Matt
contract
Flynn.
based off it, and
Who was it?
And didn't do
Matt
anything
Flynn.
since.
Matt Flynn.
Matt Flynn.
Nice.
Yeah, Matt Flynn. He lit the Patriots up.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just based off that, he got a big contract.
Matt
and never
Castle.
returned from
Matt
it.
Castle. Matt Castle.
Yeah. And at least with Matt Castle, he got a big contract out of that. But at least he did it for the year. But hey, as speaking for the Chargers, I love going against the Chargers because they're an overvalued team in my estimation.
Hey.
And in those key spots, I love going against them. It's pure money.
I took
It's
the
like
Cowboys
falling
there.
from the sky.
I took the Cowboys on the money line because to me, it just seems that Jerry Jones seems to care. He always cares about everything. It's like he treats every game like it's the Super Bowl. It's like he's there, he's rooting, he's involved, right? It doesn't matter what it is, and it's like maybe he's too involved for an owner, but at the same time, he's not. And I think one thing that Jay and I have kind of debated a little bit is the Pittsburgh quarterback situation. But I gotta say, I think you start the rookie. I think he's the best option. I think here's once in a while I'm wrong, and I always will admit it. If I'm wrong, I just admit it, and I'll tell you what, I'm wrong in Pittsburgh. I'm wrong. Okay, we don't have to get to the Patrick Mahomes thing, where they passed on Deshaun Watson, traded up and took Patrick Mahomes, and I was like, what are you guys doing? I went crazy on it, but Deshaun Watson's still a good quarterback, but this guy is way better than anybody else on the Steelers. It's not even close. Not even close.
I think so too. I think so too. I think
not even close. Kenny Pickett. I think if he doesn't start the season as the starter, he will be the starter by 3-4 games in. I would not be surprised if he starts the season.
we've seen Rudolph. He's not capable,
That
and
sucks.
Trubisky. He had his chance.
Sucks.
He's not capable.
Sucks. They
Let's
both
give
suck.
the rookie a chance, No,
I
it's
was
like
so worried.
yeah.
I was so worried he was going to give away that game last night.
man.
When you- I-
me and
I-
you both.
I saw he was in for the majority of that fourth quarter, and I'm like, come on, you're not going to shred the Jags defense. And I almost thought they weren't going to get that touchdown when they were on the 2-yard line, 4th and goal. But thankfully.
Well, anyways, we're going to do how we've been doing it, and that is kind of doing the individual kind of round the horn style, and just let everybody go into a game or two if they've got more than one game that they like. And, starting next Saturday, it's all going to kind of make sense. So, because it's impossible to go through the entire card of games. Like today would probably be able to do it, but yeah, we'll stick with the program. Anyways, I know Ruffalo has somewhere to be, so he's going to be first, and then we'll figure out the rest from there. So let me bring up the thing, and we go to Chris Ruffalo. Chris, you're up first. What's happening? Chris is muted when he sounds.
sorry.
He almost sounds better that way. That bit's so old.
I knew that. I was almost waiting for it at this point. I was gonna say, yeah. Normally I don't mind staying today. I got a jet, unfortunately, but no, I'm excited. Had a great day yesterday, and some great action today as well.
Well, so Alek Manoah is pitching today for the Blue Jays once again, and we've kind of had a good time at his expense. The first thing that pops into your head when you see Alek Manoah is club size. I've learned like this that there's there's the regular size, there's the snack size, there's the family size, there's the jumbo size, and then the club size. And Alek Manoah, I think, definitely goes for the club size. I mean, I learned this at Costco. It was like it was like club size. I never had heard that term before, and it's like, but there it was. Alec Manoa.
Opted for the club size bottle or a jar of cheese puffs.
Yeah, I think it's like the jug, you know.
No one where you have to use two arms to wrap around it, and you can't carry anything else to the front of the store.
Well, the Blue Jays have a ton of momentum. It'll be interesting to see if he's able to keep it going today for them. We've certainly had a good time at his expense, so we'll see if he's able to do it. But Chris, looks like you are going to Wrigley Field here, and last night's game, both the first two games have been back and forth games. Both of the first two games have been back and forth, and just the Cubs were the last team up in each of those games. What are you looking at today?
Yeah, I think we see another back and forth game today, but I see a bit more of a pitcher's duel going in this one. I was initially leaning towards the under, but there was no line out at the time that I dropped a pick in. But I see it around 7 now. It's still like the under there, but I'm going to go with the Chicago Cubs here, mainly because I just think that the Milwaukee Brewers lost that one in heartbreaking fashion last night. Just couldn't catch a break, and like you said, the Cubs were just the last team to come up to bat. And now, this is a bit of a closer pitching match, but I don't think a lot of people would give it credit for today. Justin Steele, a 1.66 ERA across his last 7 starts. And he's not giving up a ton of hard contact. He's the only problem that you're concerned with Justin Steele is the walks. But this season, he's got a 2.75 ERA against the Brewers. His last start, he went 6 2/3 against the Brewers and looked really good in that start. The problem for Brandon Woodruff is that he does give up a ton of hard contact. Now, the wind not necessarily blowing out at Wrigley, but last time we saw Brandon Woodruff at Wrigley, he gave up 7 runs in less than 4 innings of work. I don't think he gives that up today, but just the way the series has gone, the way the Cubs have actually played over the last couple of weeks, I got to take a shot on the Cubs and the plus 135 here.
Yeah, I'm not so sure I agree with you. I just think that the Cubs are playing kind of on borrowed time, and I think they've gotten the best of it. But eventually, when you're playing against the better team, you run into it. Steele has had a nice, little run as far as strikeouts go, but he gets close to that 100 pitch mark, and he gets smacked around pretty good. Aaron Water show, of course, taking place in Chicago. So, like we saw on Friday, it created that draft, sucking balls out of the stadium behind those Blue Angels. We'll have to see if it has any effect today.
Yeah, the nice thing about Justin Steele, at least if you're back in the Cubs, he doesn't give up, a ton of home runs. He's only given up 7 home runs on the season. So as long as the wind's not necessarily blowing out, I think keeps in the ballpark today. I think that's going to play to his advantage.
Well, what are you selling today at Pick Dogs?
Well, today I got my $15 pickoff play going for 3 in a row today. And I also have that $15 pickoff play as part of my Sunday Slam MLB 3-pack. So hop on one of those. Remember, use that promo code OG15 for any of the daily packages or any long-term passes as well. Pair me up with any of the Cappers of the Month pass, get you well into the NFL season now. Got some season passes up there as well, or even check out the 2-for-1 Capper promotion for best bang for your buck.
Awesome. Well, Chris, of course, we'll see you tomorrow morning as we always do. And until then, stay the hell away from the club size. Anyways, we'll bring in Jovan next. We know that he's been fighting the good fight this week. He's had laryngitis or something like that. What's up with the voice? It's getting better, right? It seems like it's almost all the way back at this point.
Yeah, almost there.
It's like
few cracks.
It's always tough, man. It's like, I know that I've had times like, it's like this is what we do. So it's like, it's hard to battle it through, but we appreciate you fighting the good fight, doing those parlays, and, of course, being on the show. Parlays definitely gaining popularity. You're going to be doing football parlays, college football parlays. You're going to be doing, multiple. Are you going to do just the parlay day? You're going to do multiple sport parlays? You're going to do cross sport parlays? What's going on?
Yeah, wherever I see a play that's good enough for a free parlay, I'm gonna do it.
All right. Well, I know that
whether that's a football, NFL parlay, a separate college football parlay. There's enough action out there to put multiple ones together. So I'm here for it. I'll do. I'm gonna put it out.
We know our audience loves them. They love a good parlay, and they certainly love your picks. it's like this is kind of that transitional week of the year, these next 2 weeks. I always think like right now and then in October generally is also somewhat transitional, as we have a couple of weeks where it seems like all we have is like one game a day with NFL, the World Series or something. But this year the NBA starts its season, I think, the same day the World Series starts. It's like that's a big screw you to them. But I'm pretty sure it all kind of all starts at the same time. Like the Major League Baseball playoffs and the NBA are all going on at the same time this year. So they'll be going head to head on a lot of nights. But what do you got going on today as far as a free pick for everybody?
Yeah, we're going to look at this Giants and Rockies game. Now, I'm on the over. I'm going to look at the over, but truth be told, you look at the Giants' last 6 games, and the under's on 5-0-1. But going with these 2 pitchers, Jakob Yunis and Kyle Freeland, I expect this one to go over. Especially since the last 2 games. Well, one of them was a push 4-7, but the other one was a clear under. But I think with these 2 pitchers, Yunis, he has a 6.92 ERA in his last 3 starts. Kyle Freeland, he's from there, but he just seems to give up. He doesn't. I mean, he was supposed to be. He was billed as one of those guys where he could pitch in Coors Field. Not so much. He has a 6.19 ERA in his last 3. At home, 6.00 ERA. And I expect a lot of runs in this one, some way, somehow. I think it goes over the total. So that's my think on it. And you always have the Rockies bullpen to contend with. They're just they for a stretch they were doing good. Their bullpen was doing good. I'll give them that, but they're back. They've fallen back on hard times. 6.17 ERA in their last 10 games. So I expect a lot of runs to be scored in this one. And the Giants, they're hitting 272 against lefties in the last 10. And Kyle Freeland, he's a lefty, so I think he gets rocked.
It's been a frustrating season for the Giants. I think just Rodon, I think, has really been the problem. He's been he's supposed to be the stopper, and he hasn't stopped anything. And meanwhile, the Giants have had so many opportunities and just not able to take advantage of it. I think the Giants and the White Sox, it's like every time you're ready to write them off, they start playing hard. Every time they start playing hard, you kind of can get behind them a little bit. They disappoint you. And it's like I think both those teams just really, really similar, big market teams that just haven't played like it this season.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. The manager might be – well, the manager definitely is the problem in Chicago, with Tony La Russa. He should have been out of there a long time ago. But it didn't happen, and I guess they're just riding him out. He might have something over on the ownership there. I don't know how he could have kept his job for this long. But as for Gabe Kapler, he's a pretty good manager, or he's shown that since he's been there. But I think this year, it hasn't come together. And it happens because, the Giants as a franchise, last 10, 12 years, all they've done is win, against the odds basically. So they give them a mulligan for this season, because they've won so much, throughout the years.
I think when you lose a guy from Buster Posey from the clubhouse, I think it's like losing. I'm not saying that he single-handedly wins games, even though he did, many times. But at the same time, it's losing a guy like that from the clubhouse, behind the plate, and all that stuff. It has an impact. And I think where we've seen it is in these pitchers. Last year we saw, Senzatella, who really hasn't played much at all this season, have a monster year. Kevin Gausman had a career year in San Francisco last year. And really, any credit that he gets for anything he does in Toronto this season really is just a byproduct of what happened last season, which, it's been a tremendous drop-off for him, And at the top end of the rotation last year, Logan Webb was outstanding. He's been good this year, but it's like he can't hold it up his own. And Rodon, filling in for those guys that have been out, he hasn't done it. He has not done it. He is a better pitcher than what we've seen from him. So I think, like you said, you give the Giants a pass. Maybe we get some value on them next year, but I don't see them catching it and making a run at the wild card here. But the whole thing is that you got 4 teams for 3 spots ahead of you. And one of them is the Padres, who are just looking for a place to lay down. The other one is the Phillies, who, I mean, if they implode, go on a 15-game, if they lose 13 out of 15, no one's going to be shocked except for, well, maybe a few people, but we won't be. That's for sure.
No, I wouldn't be. One of the more underrated relationships in sports is the pitcher catcher relationship. A great catcher could make a pitching staff. You've seen it time and time again with the great ones. They know how to frame, a ball, looks like a strike that's actually a ball. Fools the umpire. Turns it into a ball into a strike. How when to call certain pitches at certain times, and when you have that a starting pitcher and the catcher in sync, you can't beat it. And the loss of Buster Posey, he knew how to call a game, is basically what I'm saying. And when you lose that, you lose some of your muster in your pitching staff.
We see it with Yadi Molina in St. Louis, and since he's been back, I think they've lost like 2 games. And all the pitchers have been unbelievable, including Jordan Montgomery, right, who goes tomorrow, I believe, for them. Look at the difference between him on the Cardinals and the Yankees. I mean, it's night and day. And I think Yachty is that. And I think so you look at when you start saying like a good catcher and what they can do for a team. So I had looked up while you were talking. I looked up the 2003 Miami Marlin team. Right, which Pudge Rodriguez was the catcher. And when you look at the lineup, I mean, a lot of the guys from this team went on to be good players on other teams. But at the time, they were just seen as a thrown together team. And I mean, you look at the roster now, and like I said, you look at the roster now and you say, wow, they actually had a pretty good team. I mean,
Right.
Miguel Cabrera was a utility player, a 20-year-old utility player, on the bench with a 268 batting average. And, but they had Pudge, and then you take that pitching staff and Brad Penny, Carl Pavano, Dontrell Willis, Josh Beckett went on to, big things after. He became a superstar with Pudge after winning the World Series that year. The Yankee killer. Remember? He was the Yankee killer.
Yeah.
And, so I just think, that a good catcher, very, very underrated. We talked a little bit about it yesterday with Romanelli as well. And I've always believed that a good catcher just makes a big difference because he can give the pitcher that confidence that he can maybe throw that crazy pitch and it's not going to get past the catcher. He can, he doesn't have to really worry as much about the runner at first because it's like, yeah, you want to keep him fairly close, but he's probably not going to make it. If he tries, his odds are not good. I mean, a guy like Pudge Rodriguez or Yachty, back there. Anyways, what do you have for sale today? No, Yachty's bat has not been good. But the runs that he saves, I mean, and what he does for the pitching staff is more. Mark Belanger on the Orioles, on that team that had all those 20-game winners, Jim Palmer and Flanagan and all that. He batted like 178 that season. We went through this. He batted like 178. Him and Brooks Robinson did not bat well either that year. But it's like nothing got through that side of the infield. Nothing.
Yeah, I think that with sports in general, being so offensive driven, you lose sight of that there's more than these sports, in this case baseball, than just hitting home runs, and so defensive side of the ball, it counts for something. It counts for a lot, especially when you might not have. I mean, this isn't the Cardinals case because they're a good hitting lineup, but when you have that guy catching and seeing everything and could hold a guy on first base, could call a good game, knows his pitchers, knows when to call certain pitches and all that, that's big. So I mean, but I grew up under seeing situational baseball games where you need a bunt to advance the runner. You lay down the bunt. You don't swing for the fences every damn time. You know what I mean? So, you know, it's not like I came into this, just watching them swing for the fences. You know what I mean? So it's just different. It's just different styles of playing. Just gotta keep that in mind.
What do you got for sale today?
Yeah, so I have a 3-pack, 2 MLB plays and NFLX plays sprinkled into that, $39.99 at the website. The picks have been doing good. All those plays are sold separately. So, if you want those plays sold separately, I have the laser show for baseball. I have the strikeout to side for baseball. I also have for the football play, I have my total shutdown. So, check it out. The picks have been hitting, so just looking to keep it going. And you could look at my longer term passes, 3-day, 7-day, 30-day, yearly. The football passes. It's a week away from week 0, then week 1. Then after that, we have NFL football going into full gear. So jump on it.
It's a good time to jump on board those long-term packages, save a lot of money, and Jovan's been straight money in football. You could look at last year's records, and pretty much speaks for itself. But thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week, and of course during the week on the drive-thru, and every day with your parlays over at Pick Dogs. Up next, Al Ninos for a touch of excitement here. Al, how's it going?
Going good. How are you? I was actually getting excited there. All that catcher talk. I used to play catcher myself, so that kind of got me pumped a little bit. But
no comments in the green room, Zawacki, on that one. Anyways, we know where you were going with that. Anyways. Anyways, how the game's been treating you?
Actually, last couple of days been pretty good. So yeah, I hope to keep rolling there.
Well, what do you got going on today for everybody?
For the free pick?
Yes.
We'll be looking at the Padres hosting the Nationals. It's been a little rocky for the Padres since those big trades. They started off disappointing after acquiring those 2 big bats, and then they went on a bit of a run. Kind of thought, well, that's what we paid for, and I guess I kind of started buying into it a little bit. I'm like, okay, this is the lineup I expected to see, and then we've kind of seen them kind of die down a little bit again. So it's kind of concerning to me, if you're a Padres fan, if you're spending all that money and not getting the results you're paying for. But I think the San Diego offense has a cure for their for whatever's been going on there, and that would be Patrick Corbin here. If they can't get going against him, then you really want to start panicking and sound the alarm maybe. But I think they do get going against Corbin here. He's just been horrible all season, been horrible coming into this game. And I think he has a rough outing today against Padres lineup that, despite, as I said, some poor results lately, I still think they have some very good hitters on that lineup. So they should get it going today. Obviously, covering the run line at home has not been their thing these last couple of games, but I'll be looking at the total here, and I think, I've mentioned Corbin struggles, but Manea hasn't been great himself. He's been struggling coming into this one a little bit too, so I think the Nationals do get a couple runs off him as well, and I think this game goes way over the total.
Yeah, Manea has always been a guy that throws the ball over the plate and then hopes that he gets a little bit of tail motion on it, to keep the hitters off. But when it's not tailing off, man, he gets cracked. And, of course, Patrick Corbin, so they hit that contract. They could not get rid of him with Soto. And, of course, the Padres were the team that, pushed back hard, from having to take him on and that salary. But, yeah, I'm with you. I think that we see plenty of runs in this thing. I also like the first 5 over in this thing, too.
Yeah. I haven't looked at that number, but yeah.
I just think that with these, with the starting pitching is really what you want to attack here. So probably first 5 over as well. What are you selling today at Pick Dogs?
Uh, I actually have quite a few plays, so long term is probably the best way to go. But if you're just looking for the daily packages, I do have a 3-pack. I have my best bet in the MLB also, which is included there, but I have it sold separately if you just want to make one big bet. And then I think I said yesterday I was gonna stay away from the preseason, but have my first preseason play of the year out there as well. If you want to check that out, if you've been watching the show, you might know what it is. If not, you can check that out over on the premium side.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us. We'll see you during the week on the drive-through, and of course, next week here, Saturday, college football opening. We know college football not usually your thing, but you say you got a new strategy, so we're all interested in hearing it.
Yeah, it should be. Well, that's the strategy for the premium side, so I wouldn't want to give too much away, but we could talk about it a little bit.
All right. Well, next up, we got Jay Briggs. He's excited about the NFL season. He's been killing it in the NFL preseason overall, not winning every game. No one wins them all. I know usually the new cappers usually super hard on themselves with every loss. Take it personally. Nobody likes to lose, but I think the longer you do it, you realize that it is part of it, and you can't win them all. But you just hope to continue to chug along and win more than you lose. And I think at the end of the day, if you had a choice and you said I can go 3-2 for the rest of my life, I would take it any day of the week. You know, one of the things that Jay and I talked about yesterday after the show was that we're going to do a new football show. I believe it's going to be on Thursday afternoons. So we'll have to figure this out. But it's going to be Jay with Al McMorty. So should be interesting show. I think it's going to be good. You have, kind of the young gun and the old timer there, kind of the veteran of veterans, and then our newest handicapper, all in one thing. We'll have other cappers. Rod, myself will also be involved. So should be good times. We're looking forward to it. And Jay also might be involved in some of my halftime shows. So more Jay.
Yes, sir. A lot of more Jay, man. Y'all get used to me, man. I'm here.
I mean, our audience seems
here
to
make
like you.
some money for guys.
Our audience seems to like you, and when they like somebody, usually it takes the heat off of me. So I always like that.
For sure, man. I'm here, man.
So I've been doing this a long time. I've been in front of the camera. But anyways, what do you got going on today?
So today, free pick wise, I'm looking at that Browns-Eagles game for you guys. And this is how I'm looking at it. There's no starters pretty much for either team. I was looking through coaches' quotes, all that good stuff for you guys, trying to see who's in there. Both coaches seem like neither too many starters are going to be playing. The Eagles' backup quarterback is Gardner Minshew. He's one of those guys on that list. But for a backup, he's decent. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not sure how much he plays though, because the Eagles are carrying a lot of guys on that roster. So he might only be in there for a few snaps or maybe a quarter at most. And if that's the case, I like the Browns quarterback rotation a little bit better. And here's some stats for preseason that I've been looking at. The Browns under Kevin Stefanski are 4-0 since he's been there, and 3-1 ATS. The Eagles, however, under Nick Sirianni are 0-3 and 1 in the preseason and 1-3 ATS. I'm on the Browns today. I think the Browns can maybe even win it outright. I think they do win it outright, but I'm gonna take the points just because it's preseason. That's how I'm looking at it.
All right. Well, I think that preseason's tough. I haven't really hit a lot of preseason games. I know that you've been a lot more active in it than I have. So some of these games, I'm just gonna have to take your word for it. Other games, I'm probably have a stronger opinion. I think this is one of the tougher games out there. I just think that, like you said, not really sure what we're gonna see. I think the Browns have this deep backfield though, running backs, and I think that's always a good thing to have when you have quarterbacks that are somewhat questionable. And I think that part of the issue here for the Browns is you have Jacoby Brissett, but he's not good. He's not a good quarterback. He won a game once. This is another guy we could ask Jovan about it. Is he won a game for the Patriots in the regular season as a backup quarterback, and he's lived off of that for I don't know, 6-7 years at this point. We saw him last year in Miami, and they were unable to win games with him as quarterback. Do you think they go out and get Jimmy Garoppolo? The Browns have never really been all that shy when it comes to trading for players or trading players. Remember, they went out, they got OBJ when he was available. They've gotten, Jarvis Landry. Kareem Hunt, was another guy that was,
I think honestly, I think they don't do it. Their schedule to open up is pretty soft. So I think
But Jacoby Brissett is soft. He's soft.
Yeah, he's soft. Yeah, he's not. To
Not
me,
good.
he's definitely going to be like in that 30 to 32 range quarterbacks in the league this year. So until Watson gets back. So they should probably go get Garoppolo, but I don't think they are. I think they're going to try to tread it. I think they're going to try to tough it out, but it might cost them the postseason this season, honestly.
Yep.
That's what I see.
I think it could. I think it could as well. But I think at the same time, I think they could make a move. People are saying Dobbs. Dobbs, I believe, is the better option than Brissett. But once again, we don't know. We don't know, but we know he has a decent arm. He threw the ball at Tennessee pretty well when he was there. But at Pittsburgh, they kept him on the roster. He made it every year. They don't just keep guys. He made it on there, and I don't know. Jacoby Brissett, it's like we know what we have, and it's a guy that can't win games. It's a problem. He wasn't able to do it in Indianapolis either.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, what do you have for sale today at Pick Dogs?
Today at the site, I have a 3-pack up there for you guys. It includes 2 NFL preseason games, and I have my $15 MLB best bet, which is 12-3 in the last 15. Baseball, in itself is kind of, I'm still getting used to it, but my best bet in itself is 12-3 last 15. So you guys can hop on that. And I got, like I said, I got those 2 NFL preseason up there for you guys, or you can get them all in the 3-pack or sold individually. You can hop on the 3-day, 7-day, 30-day, or hop on the NFL season pass. That's what I got going on Pick Dogs Premium, man. Make sure y'all hop on and let's continue to roll on and make some money.
All right. Well, we're going to see plenty more of Jay Briggs here at Pick Dogs. Definitely hitting the ground running. And I know a lot of people, gaining up some popularity. Kind of we have we have different sets of handicappers at Pick Dogs. We kind of got the old school, Al McMorty, and then me, and, a couple of the other guys. And then we kind of have the guys that have been around for a while, like Chris and Rod and guys like that. And then, we have the young guns like Ron and Jay. And so we have a good mix, got something for everyone. And, it just seems that some of the guys that we've just added, through our Become a Capper contest, Jay was part of the Become a Capper contest. He didn't win. We've kept in touch the whole time. He finished, I believe, second. And he kept in touch. And Jovan finished second, the year before. And look how well he's worked out. James Clark, who a lot of people felt that he won because he kind of went with some big underdog money line shots and he just hit them at the end and ended up winning. But, look at his capping record since, it's like, you can see clearly no fluke. So we're excited to have you. I don't know if we're doing the Become a Capper this year. So we're glad to have you. But I just think
Mills got hot there at the end and won this year.
Yeah,
That's
Mills
got crazy hot.
Mills was hot as well.
Took it from me.
I think that the thing that all the handicappers that have in common that came on, and this year was different because we had the video segment of it. So it was different that everyone had to do that weekly video this year. But I think what made it different, what makes our capper contest different, is that we don't just say anybody can be in it. It's like you have to be a real person. You have to, follow these specific set of rules. And I see other sites. I was at another site where they ran a capper contest, and I didn't like the way they ran it, so I wasn't part of it. And they had, I think, 6 people enter. So it's like, but at ours, I know Rod will tell you, we had hundreds, and most people really stuck with it to the end, even if they weren't in it anymore, which is...
it was a really good competition. A lot of good people were in it. A lot of good people tried to win it. A lot of people I still associate with on Twitter. So it good deal.
Yeah, so
it was fun, and
we're not
we have a great community.
We're not planning on doing it this year, but you never know. You know, you never say never. But you know, last year we did it in December. So you know, this year we'll you know, I don't know. We'll have to see. I know that we have the ability to automate the whole thing into a much better way of doing it. So I'll talk to my business partners and see if they can do it, because they do, like, if you are on DraftKings or Barstool Sportsbook or one of those, and you see like the contest that they run, like Super Bowl squares and all that stuff. Basically, my business partners built those. So you know they have the full ability to build us a capper contest where everyone has, you know, the ability to log in and see everything, and, you know, to do everything where we don't have to kind of do this manual grading. But not just that, but where you can see everybody's pick history and the way that it needs to be done if we want to do it right. We don't want to have it where people, they don't know where they stand and things like that. And, you know, to be honest, you know, while we talk about the successes that we've had from there, you know, we've had some non-successes too. So, you know, it's been a mixed bag. But anyways, Jay, thanks for joining us. We look forward to the football show. I think it's going to be interesting.
Can't wait for it. Yeah, that's going to be so much fun.
Yeah, we'll have to make sure that we get the word out. You know, I did a football show with Joe Madden last year. It wasn't super popular, but I think this year is going to be a little bit different with you guys. So, all right, we'll get to Rod Zawacki. Thanks for joining us. All right. I always feel like I cut people off, so I wanted to make sure that he had got in the last word. But anyways, I'm excited to have Jay, and Rod can tell you, you know, doing those contests and stuff, it is it's like a whole nother job, you know, and that's why I'm not sure if we're going to do it or not this year. I like that with the fact that we can connect with our audience. I like all of those different things. I think that for me, part of it is that I felt bad not being able to bring on everybody that I wanted to. And then I also felt that I struggled being honest with some people to tell them why I couldn't bring them on or why I didn't think they were good enough to be on the site at this point. And I think a lot of people take it personally, you know, and it created some animosity between me and some people that I think were fans of the site and aren't any longer, you know, and that's okay. You know, it's like, you know, I see other people that were in the contest kind of now doing their own thing or whatever, you know, unsuccessfully. And, you know, it's, I don't know. And I think a lot of people still contact me. Oh, I want to be on it or whatever. But it's like, if you go out there and you're on like some scumbag shows and other stuff just to try and get your name out there, though, I don't want anything to do with you. You know, it's like, we do things a little differently here. I know I call people out, and I'm going to try and do a lot less of that than I have in the past, and, you know, calling people out specifically, but everyone knows who these people are and what they stand for and why I don't believe in them and why I think they're a problem with the industry. And I'm certainly not going to have people that associate with them or associate people that associate with them. You know, it's kind of like, you know, you just don't want anything to do with them. It's like, it's bad. Anyways. But Rod, how are things going? Rod's a guy Rod actually, you know, before he became a handicapper on site, I basically had to beg him, you know. That's how much things have changed, right? It's like I had to beg you to be on the site, and now other people, you know, it's like
I don't know. We got everybody
hundreds. I get emails every day.
But you look at some of the both of those contests, and there's some pretty good cappers, because you look at the top 10, all were making money. It's not like they were the top 10 were losing people money. It was a tough both contests, like both the years that we did the contest there's some great cappers. There have been some duds that some people get lucky streak, as we've seen, that they didn't survive and they're not around anymore. But hey, that we look at the ones we did get. Look at James Clark. Whew.
I know. And Jovan.
Just look at Jovan, right?
I know.
Just rolling right along. So,
so the guys who are from the contest in the recent years are James Clark, Jovan, Jay, and Mills.
Jay had it wrapped up because we talked about it. We're like, remember that last day we were like, oh, Jay's got this. He's got this all wrapped up.
Yeah.
It's like all you got to do is put in one play and he's got it wrapped up. He put in 3 and I think it was like, oh no. And then he had a rough one last day and then Mills just passed him. And that's what it was. It was like if he would have put in 1, he would have easily won it.
Yeah, he was both. I think he was winning both. Instagram, like he was winning both.
And he had his bad last day. He had one bad last day because he put in 3 plays, and we were like, no,
don't do it.
Yeah, don't put in 3. Oh. I'm like, he puts in 1, he's got it. He's got it all locked up.
He puts in 1 play, win or lose, doesn't matter. You know,
doesn't matter. Yeah, he had it all locked up, and then we were like, oh no, he put in 3. And I think he went 0-3, if I'm not mistaken.
I think so. It always works out that way. It always works out that way. It always does. And
yeah. Damn Murphy.
Well, Rod, what do you got going on today?
Well, we're gonna go with the Royals and the Rays here, and you look for me. Both these starters here have definitely not been good. You got Greinke on the road with his nice 6 ERA. He's 0-6 with a 6.48 ERA and a 1.60 WHIP. And you look his last games on the road, just to give a sample, he's given up 3 runs against the Twins. He faced the Yankees, gave up 3 runs. He faced the Jays, he gave up 4 runs. He faced the Astros, he gave up 6 runs. He faced the Twins again, he gave up 5 runs. And then he faced Arizona and gave up 7 runs. And then you look on the other side, you got Yarborough going for the Rays in this one. And he's got a mixed bag of relieving and starting. But when he's been a starter, you look his last few starts, his last time as a starter, he gave up 1 run. The time before that, he gave up 2 runs. The time before that, he did get smacked around and he gave up 6 runs. The time before that, he gave up 2 runs. So when Yarborough starts as a starter for me, the Rays seem to get some runs and help him out there on that end of things. So for me, we got to go with the Rays here on the run line. You look at the Rays in Game 4 of the series, 5-1. They're also 5-2 in their last 7, and in the thick of that wild card race. So. I think the Rays come to play here. You look at the Royals, 1-4 in their last 5 in Tampa, 8-19 in the last 27 meetings versus these Rays in Tampa. And you look on the road, the Royals on the road, 5-16. There's a pure fade of Greinke on the road. He's just been awful. And I think the Rays get to him and light him up like a Christmas tree. So I think the Rays on the run line here in this one.
I think this is the end of the line for Greinke. It's kind of been a farewell tour. For him. So I just think that the Rays are setting it down. So definitely this is their time of year after the All-Star break. So I gotta agree with you.
And one more quick play, of course. Who else? It's Sunday. Who else to play? We got to fire up the bandwagon. The Ravens have won 21 straight in the preseason, so I'm gonna take the Ravens again. Why not? They're 18-2-1 ATS, and you look going against the Cardinals here. And I think the reason why the Ravens have done so well in these preseason games is their depth on D. Their ability to slow down teams, because a lot of teams they just want to run the ball, right? And they have that depth and ability on D to slow down teams trying to run the ball and chew up clock and move the ball. They have good second stringers and third stringers that can come in and actually make a tackle. So that's why this run has been so heavy. So you look their last 5 against these Cardinals. The Cardinals 0-5 ATS, their last 5 at home here. So the Ravens playing pretty well on the road. So I'm going to take the Ravens here. Lay the 5.5, 6 in spots. Shop your number. I think the Ravens continue to get another win here. 21 straight.
Yeah, why
by 7+.
Why not? In the over with it. I think same game for me. I think there's going to be plenty of points. Yep. We saw the Cardinals, no effort on defense against the Bengals. They just, that was flag football. It'd be interesting to see what they did this week. Anyways, what are you selling today, Rod?
And for me, over at Pick Dog Stream, I lost my one lone NFL play on the Dolphins yesterday. They did not come through. They looked awful, just like you said. Bridgewater did not look good. Figured he would have a better start, but he did not. So over today, we got I went 2-1 on the MLB's play, so that's what I focused on today. I'm sticking with the MLB. I got my 10-star MLB total of the week up over there. You can get it singly, or you can get my Safe Crackers package where you get all 3 of my MLB plays over at Pig Dogs Premium. And as we say, now's the time. Grab something long term. Grab along one of them long term packages. Make sure you use promo code UG15. Get you 15% off any of your purchases over at Pig Dog Premium, which is big when you grab something long term. Huge savings there when you use UG15.
All right. Well, thanks everyone for joining us. Thanks, Rod. We will see everybody tomorrow, next week, and all that good stuff. And of course, next weekend starts college football. So be sure to grab those long-term packages. If you buy any season pass, I'm throwing in a free consensus report for the duration of whatever season you get. Or, if it's college, NFL, whatever, runs through February. You'll get the consensus, which will include college basketball, NBA, and everything else that goes on the consensus report. So thanks everyone for joining us. Make it a winning day, and we appreciate each and every one.